My Earthbound Immortal will make quick work of you. My Dark Signer's mark is flaring up. Rise, Earthbound Immortal Danny!
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. I'm proud to announce I have renounced my humanity, and therefore now possess the forbidden knowledge necessary to navigate the non-Euclidean lines of play all Earthbound Immortal players must memorize. Follow me, naive fool, to the site of Zero Reverse, and we'll talk about trading cards, I guess. To deck edit. So here's the list, and if it looks terrible to you, I recommend coming to terms with the fact that you cannot fathom the machinations of the Dark Signers. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Earthbound Immortals are a series of super cool ultimate rare monsters that apparently also have text under their art box. Each of these monumental chunguses has a couple of effects that probably seemed cool in 2009, but have since been eclipsed by every pushed play starter since. They can attack your opponent directly, but they require a field spell or are immediately destroyed, they demand intense setup, and they waste your normal summon. As a result, despite their status in the anime as endgame bosses, in paper they've been a staple of back-of-the-binder garbage for almost the entirety of their lifespan. Until now, in their endless quest to make every single card that has ever appeared on screen in any anime ever published Tier 1, Konami is releasing Earthbound Immortal support. Now, I'm personally a little bit frightened at the possibility of reintroducing old gods into the metagame, but hey, whatever annihilates your reality. Our build attempts to do one extremely specific thing extremely consistently. After all, what's a doomsday device without a master plan? We're aiming to use the Oracles and Destrudo to satisfy the special summoning condition on Overwalker, which allows us to summon an Earthbound Immortal, cap our opponent's life points at 3,000, then wipe the remainder with a direct attack using a Synchro-tributed Earthbound. Doing this requires us to open a way to find Overwalker, a way to find Destrudo, and an Oracle. I know hearing every combo is 3 cards minimum doesn't inspire confidence, but the ultimate Earthboundian black pill becomes much easier to swallow once you realize how many pieces fulfill the above conditions. At the very least, we're not on the devastatingly bad and double summon reliant Mayakashi version. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, Ascend from the Depths of Hell, Earthbound Immortal Uru! We're playing this one because he's got 3,000 attack and he's the easiest to pronounce. Next is Overwalker, who can special himself if you've got a Synchro on field and in graveyard, then adds an Earthbound Immortal to your hand. After that are our Envoys, 3 Fire Ant Oracle and its Insectile Invoker, and 3 Supe Oracle and Supe. Next, we're on 3 Destrudo and 1 Darkworm. Darkworm allows an additional way to find Destrudo to flex into tribute material for the Earthbound if we fail to find the Earthbound field spell. Trust me, it is critical. Finally, since we have so many Garnets and aim to go second, we're on Fant. For spells, we're on Upstart, Foolish, Set Rotation, Double Terraforming, and 3 Geoglyph. Geoglyph allows you to search an Earthbound spell or trap when a monster is Synchro summoned, and permits an Immortal tribute with 1 Synchro monster as the material. After that are 3 Ravine, which prevents your Earthbound's allergy to fieldless fields and bins Destrudo. Convenient. 3 Dark Occultism, which searches Overwalker, 3 Pot of Extravagance, 3 Called, and 1 Ultimate Earthbound Immortal. In the extra, we're on an Extravagance board, and it's pretty tight. We need exactly a 10, 8, 7, and 6, hence Leo, Scarlight, Pixie, and Charged. Our additional spots are Star Eater for Fringe Darkworm setups, and Riser Coral for Fringe setups where our first Synchro has to be a tuner. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Fire King, and our opponent has bricked, but that's not important! What's important is that this game fulfills the conditions necessary for inclusion in a Replay YugiTuber's repertoire. Our opponent doesn't do anything particularly frightening, they don't interact with us in a meaningful way, and our hand is good enough that we can showcase the deck. So sit down and stop complaining. Our opponents can lead with 2 copies of Supply Squad, they'll set a copy of Jet Synchron and then pass it back to us. Frightening. We draw for turn, and then we'll activate Pot of Extravagance. Off of Extravagance, we find, what luck, a copy of Dark Occultism. We'll activate that, then activate Dragon Ravine, sending a copy of Uru to graveyard to send a copy of Destrudo. We'll then activate Fire Ant Oracle, get our copy of Destrudo back, and start Synchro Summoning. First, we're going to activate Terraforming to get a copy of Earthbound Geoglyph before we go into this copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, adding an ultimate Earthbound Immortal, special summoning an Overrocker, using its effect, normal summoning a copy of Uru, capping our opponent's life points at 3k, and getting in for lethal. While the previous game's opener was definitely consistent, our play was remarkably convincing, and our opponent's deck was exceptionally representative of the Tier 1 meta, let's play a couple more just to humor you. Our opponent for Game 2 is on Guru, which means we'll have to play through a small amount of hate. Hidden City, of course, can negate an attack, which is problematic, and we don't have a field spell in our opening hand, nor do we have the requisite tribute fodder necessary for an Earthbound Immortal. Our opponent's going to lead by activating Hidden City, and thankfully they've gone to the Joseph Rothschild school of understanding how this deck works, passing it back to us with a face-down Guru. We're going to activate Oracle of Supe and use its effect to get a Supe from deck. Afterwards, we'll activate Destrudo's effect before Synchro Summoning. We'll start with Charge Warrior, drawing a card, and thankfully, it's Tribute Fodder. After using Overwalker, we'll activate our second Oracle to get a Fire Ant from our deck, tribute both for this copy of Uru, and go to battle phase. We'll proc the Hidden City's negation effect right now before getting in directly for 3,000. They'll chain Final Battle, but it doesn't actually do anything at all. Well, based on the results of those two games, I feel I can confidently say we will easily sweep our third round opponent. Our third round is, as always, a best of 3 versus meta, and our opponent is on Salamangreat. Let's see how well we do against a deck that actually sets up. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Foxy, special summoning a copy of Foul from hand at the same time. They're going to find off the top, oh god, a Gazelle and a Rage. They will add the latter to their hand before activating Salamangreat Circle for the former. After that, they're going to go into a Balinx, triggering the hand effect of Gazelle and sending a copy of Spinny from deck to graveyard, adding a copy of Sanctuary from deck to hand. They'll go into Mirage Stallion, use its effect to get a Jack Jaguar, and special summon a copy of Sunlight Wolf. They'll Reincarnation Summon, using that effect to get Circle back, and then special summon this copy of Jack Jaguar, adding back Gazelle. They'll end on 3 set cards and a copy of Doolittle Chimera. Well, we're basically dead here. We're going to lead with a set rotation, then we'll activate our Earthbound Geoglyph. That gets roared, which means our Earthbound will not be able to stick on the field. We'll activate an Oracle. We'll go for the Supe one. They're going to activate the effect of Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. We'll activate Destrudo's effect, and after we've done so, they'll flip up Salamangreat Rage. Now, this is what I call a Rage Quit. Alright, well, I'd be lying if I said my confidence wasn't a little bit shaken by that last one. Let's try going first here and seeing if that changes anything. We'll lead with a copy of Upstart Goblin, and our hand transforms from bad into maybe playable. We'll go for Fire Ant Oracle, getting a Fire Ant from deck, and normal summoning Supe because we need the draw. We'll activate Stardust Charge Warrior and Earthbound Geoglyph, and what do we find off the top but, oh, Overwalker, great! We'll go ahead and use Destrudo's effect before going into an Ancient Pixie. We'll special summon a copy of Overwalker, get a copy of Uru to hand, and set 2. This is about as good as it gets for a hand that doesn't actually normal summon an Earthbound Immortal. Our opponents can lead with a Spinny and a Circle. They'll then go into a Balinx. The Balinx is going to trigger the Gazelle effect in hand as well, which gets a Sanctuary to hand and a copy of Foxy to graveyard. They'll activate Foxy's effect, but we do have the drag down. That is excellent news for us. Afterwards, they're going to activate Spinny, activate Sanctuary, go into Mirage Stallion, use Mirage Stallion's effect for Jack Jaguar, and Link Summon Heat Leo. Okay, so this is really bad. They're going to shuffle our set card and also return our copy of Pixie to hand before going into a second Heat Leo and making our Earthbound Overwalker's attack a whopping 0. We're going to use the Grave effect of Fire Ant Actastor to bring back the Oracle, which dies in the end step because we live in hell. Well, we'll activate Called by the Grave. They'll Solemn Judgment in the biggest flex I've seen, and we'll concede. So we're back with the deck, and crisis averted, you can all return to your homes. The apocalypse is not exactly imminent, the deck sucks. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, it is so cool. This thing kind of makes me want to cosplay my Dark Signer OC and show up to conventions challenging people to decide the future of Satellite. 2, it does execute its game plan fairly well. The pieces it needs are mutable, so there's a ton of hands that actually perform the devastating Doomsday OTK. And 3, in a format filled with endless Link losers, it's nice to play a deck whose extra is filled to the brim with Chad synchros. And the cons. 1, it's remarkably inconsistent. Something I don't touch on is that while the hands routinely contain all the pieces you need, you often require the ability to discard between 1 and 3 cards in order to activate the effects of things like Dark Occultism, Dragon's Ravine, and the Oracles. That cuts the amount of playable hands by a significant amount. 2, we're playing a go second deck without any way to play through a single piece of hate. While the pieces are changeable, the resources aren't, and it's very easy to be forced into burning a normal summon based on a well-timed Veiler. And 3, there is 0 repeatability. If your opponent Regeki breaks your Earthbound Immortal, pack it up and go to game 2. All in all, it's a sweet deck for role players, but it's nowhere near strong enough in a competitive capacity, and it's a little too one-note to be notable in casual. So that's that. While I appreciate all of my viewers, a special thanks to my patrons, especially Colin Whalen, Michael Saumure, Ace Enigma, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, Distrin, Lucas Geardas, and Second. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/mbtygo every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.